Hi guys, welcome to week 2 of our research study. This week we're going to be talking about mindfulness and meditation. But before we get into that, I just kind of want to recap what happened with week 1 or how your homework assignment went. Since we're not in person and since we don't collaborate synchronously, I went ahead and created a survey on Google Forms for us to kind of collaborate on ideas, and it will help me structure the summary session at the end so that we can make it something that is useful to you and see how others maybe have implemented self-care. It's completely anonymous. Your name will never be mentioned, but your ideas may be shared. So if you don't mind filling that out for me, it'll just take a couple minutes. And that link is also included in the email I sent you with this video attached. So it should be easy to access, and if it's not, just please shoot me an email and I'll fix it real quick. So mindfulness and meditation, why I chose to include that as part of our educational sessions is because a lot of research that I looked at used it as a technique to help reduce stress and hopefully delay burnout. And in doing that, and what their aim was, they also found that it increased self-compassion, which is something that we're going to talk about in its own educational session later on, and also increased self-efficacy for teachers of all experience levels. So it was both new, experienced, and even struggling teachers, people who maybe just had something happen in their personal life and just made it a challenging year. That self-efficacy happened both in the instructional realm of like how well you thought you were implementing curriculum and teaching curriculum to students, but also in your self-efficacy of relationships with students and relationships with peers and relationships with people outside of the profession as well. And so, and looking at all the benefits of how it can improve our self-care and it can improve our mental health, I thought it was really beneficial to include it in this study. The interventions that a lot of the studies looked at is like yoga, visualization, and relaxation breathing, meditation, and then mindful awareness. And we'll talk about the difference between a lot of those as we go through the homework assignment on the next slide. Much like what's being happening here, the interventions were delivered over email for a 5 to 8 week period, and really just kind of like put the ball in the court of the client so that they can decide what was best for them. And that's really what informed my decision to deliver the educational sessions this way in my research. So what is mindfulness, and what is the difference between mindfulness and meditation? Well, mindfulness is just being present in the moment. And so a lot of times we have thoughts that are not happening in front of us, and they're in our mind. And I think as a teacher, you're wired to multitask and you're wired to always have, juggling a million different things. But it takes you out of the moment, and it takes you out of making decisions that maybe you missed something. And so it can alter your thought process. And so mindfulness is just really being intentional and being in the moment. And how do we do that? Well, meditation is a technique that has been found to help be in the moment and be conscious in the moment and like what's happening. But a lot of times these things go hand in hand. So mindfulness is the act versus meditation is more of the technique used to become mindful. I thought this graphic really hit home and helping explain what mindfulness is. So mindful, meaning that your mind is full of all these thoughts. That's normally how a teacher brain works as you're going for a walk. And then you can see the little dog who's being mindful in the moment, and he's really being present and looking at the trees and the sun. And that just really helps reduce a lot of stress and hopefully reduce some anxiety or help clear your thought process and what's happening. So really, that's what we're going to be working on, is trying to be mindful and not have a mind full of thoughts. So what is your homework, and how can we try to achieve this week? Well, your homework is to practice mindfulness or meditation in whatever way suits you. And so I have some ideas there for you. There's plenty more out there. There's also a resource page attached to this email in PDF form for you to click on the links that will be on the next slide. So hopefully it'll ease some access to that. So there's breathing techniques. I know a lot of like Fitbits and smartwatches have this, and they're like that relaxation mode. Try doing that and seeing if that helps you maybe like set your day, or maybe at lunch just to reset and hopefully be a little bit more mindful in what you're doing. Um, Also, with that, the figure 8 breathing, you can see this on the PowerPoint. As you trace it with your finger, you breathe in and then you breathe out where the arrows say to breathe out. And really just doing this in a mindful way and focusing your attention on what's happening in front of you and your breathing can reduce some stress and bring you back into the moment. Maybe not as things are being so crazy. It kind of calms your mind a little bit, and can reduce blood pressure and can reduce a lot of anxiety in the moment. And so I've seen this work really well with a lot of kids. We also did this as part of a class study, and it just really helps focus you back on what the task is at hand. Other options are morning or desk yoga if you just have a few minutes, guided meditation, and just kind of visualizing what's happening in the moment and getting your practicing getting your mind focused on what's in front of you. And then also there's apps on your phone, or like the Alexa or Google Home, that can help you as well. And I know I have some of those on the next slide. So we'll talk about those on the next slide. So here's the resource pages. These links are all attached on you, like they're YouTube links. And I have used them, or I have like recommended them for people to use and had like success with that. Just kind of depends on what it is you're interested in and how you want to practice it. So morning yoga, there's a 30-day challenge, and where you just don't even have to go and search for videos, and it's just 10 minutes every morning. So if that's something that you feel you can fit into your routine, that'd be awesome. Desk yoga, I think, is really great for like conference periods or right before you go into a long meeting, or you know you're going to be sitting for a while. I think it's something that could also be really beneficial for students. So if it's something you find beneficial, maybe that's something you want to include. Relaxing music and scenery, these can be very helpful, and just maybe at the beginning of your conference period, maybe at the beginning of the day, maybe to end your day to help you go to sleep and get all those thoughts, those racing thoughts out of your head. They're really long videos. You do not have to do all of them. They're like 12 hours and 13 hours, and it's really just, it's whatever, it's for however long you need so that you don't have to stop in the moment to be mindful. There's guided meditations. These can be short. They have longer ones as well. These are just two that I thought would be beneficial in the time frame that we're looking to stay in. Someone kind of talks you through imagery and gets your mind to focus, and there's really no right or wrong answer. And then there's like 10-minute breathing exercises and practicing like that figure 8 breathing. It's just something different. And the thing I really like about the Daily Calm is it's a new thing every day. And so you're not having to look for stuff. It kind of goes with you. That's a YouTube link that's linked there. But also, I think they also have an app on your phone if that's something you want to look into. And then there's other free apps. I know Headspace is linked a lot to like your Google Homes and things like that. And then Mesmerized is more of a visualization technique. It kind of brings in that figure 8 breathing with like the mindfulness. So kind of pick and choose, try a couple. If you just want to try one, that's fine too. But I want to see what it is that you're able to fit in and where you're able to fit it in. Hopefully something very quickly in your day-to-day, and maybe even within your time frame at school, so you're not adding to your plate. And then the last slide is just my references of those research studies I kind of referred to at the beginning, and just really where I'm getting all of this information from. So I hope this week goes really great for you guys. If you have any questions or any concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out. Please don't forget to do that survey at the beginning and the one that's linked in the email, because it'll really help me just kind of target where this study needs to go. So have a great week.